Today I want to go through some things that I've been through, I struggle with. I like to look at it as hopefully I can be your mentor, right? And the way I look at mentorship is the person who has the cheat codes to the video game. I've already gone through some of the levels and I know where the bad guys are. So I want to share with you where the bad guys are so you can kill them and know where they're at when they come into your life, because I can guarantee they're going to come in. My number one intention for you guys is I want you to thrive in practice without being a slave to it. I love chiropractic. I love Sherman College, right? I'm strong in my faith. I'm strong in my family. But there came a point in my career where I was burnt out. I literally wanted to push away the thing that gave me most of my life. And I want to share that because maybe some of you all are in that current position now with school. You're burnt out with tests. You're burnt out with boards. You're burnt out with family, and you don't know what the future looks like. It even got to the point of potentially looking to sell the practice. That's how far we went. So it's not all sunshine and rainbows, right? There's some things in our life that poses challenges, and we're not fully equipped. We can push away the thing that gave us so much of our life. Out of school, I immediately became an associate. We'll talk about in a second. I was seeing a high volume and I would say a high ticket, right? The way you can look at high ticket is their services are more than what a general chiropractor or someone like The Joint would charge. Not necessarily better, worse, it's just we were higher ticket. We had a great experience there, got comfortable with money, overcame the scarcity mindset that we have here as students. But we decided to leave. This is my wife, Dr. Men, who I love dearly, and is my partner, my business partner. I would not be as good as I am without her by my side. But we started out, we left in January of 2019, and then we didn't start our practice till September of that same year. So a lot of come to Jesus moments came in that 9-month period. What took place? Well, we became independent contractors, and we were making pretty much little to no money. By no money, that's $400 a month, essentially, is the most we ever made, because we know the bigger vision was to open up our own practice. In addition to making no money, groceries were on credit cards, and then we were also paying for our wedding. I was engaged to my now wife, Dr. Man, at the time. So it was a challenge. I mean, you're just getting kicked in the face, deeper and deeper hole, but we had a belief that we could make it happen. So I know what it's like for you students that you're scared, you're excited, even worse, you're uncertain for what the future holds. What do you do? Well, I want to walk you through the different options that you have. It's not about being a successful chiropractor, right? Being a successful chiropractor, it's great, but I want to be successful in life, right? That's what attracts people. That's what attracts us to more than people other than chiropractors, is to be successful in your personal life as much as your professional life. I call this the leverage, right? Why are you listening to this talk? What's going to move you guys? You got this harsh reality, and I've been through this harsh reality. Many people that came from Sherman College, and I know I used to work in the admissions and call people to ask for donations, and it had nothing to do with a jack, but a lot of people, chiropractors, wanted nothing to do with Sherman College. We don't want you to be those doctors, right? They became burnt out in practice. They got chained to their adjusting tables. I would say the thing that you guys are going to spend your life building to create the freedom that you want ends up becoming the prison that you can't get away from. And I speak from experience because I've seen both. There's this critical window. Who in here is anyone in here first quarter? Awesome. You're in the right place. So it doesn't really matter if you're first or 13 or 14, anywhere in between. The next 20 to 24 months, or excuse me, 12 to 24 months are going to shape everything for you for the rest of your life. And I want you to adopt this mindset. It's not a legal mindset, it's just an internal character belief. You're not students, you're doctors. You're a doctor. The habits, the mindsets, the practices, all that is being established now. How you communicate, how you work out, how you take care of your spouse. This is the training ground for life and for practice. And I want you guys to experience freedom through service. There's two tails when it comes to the doctor that you'll be in practice. I'm sharing this from a cautionary standpoint because depending on what event and milestone and circumstance come into your life, I guarantee all of you are going to come through this one here. You're working relentlessly, you're sacrificing your health or relationships, and it literally can feel like a chain to the table. And it's not because you can't break away because of you're not seeing enough people, it's because you have to keep it going to keep it going. You have overhead, you have payroll, you have rent, all these things you students aren't thinking about. Right now you get to live off the government. It's a cushion place. But after that, there's other things, right? So you can choose that path and just grind it out. Or I would say there's a blueprint that if you have the mindset from the beginning, which I did not have, even amongst the success around me, you can build systems in place that aren't only hinged upon you or your personality. The reason McDonald's is so successful is because they can take someone who doesn't even have a high school degree and put them in a position. Can you do the same thing in your practice? Or is it all riding on you? You're not just chiropractors, you're future leaders. You're future healers in your community. And the best part, if I've done it, there's people smarter than me, there's people dumber than me, they've done it too. What does that mean? I can do it. You can do it because people have done it. Chiropractic isn't new. Just follow what people have done. Learn from the mistakes, right? You have the advantage and you're in the perfect breeding ground. I'm telling you, the mentorship, the people that poured into my life at this school specifically is the reason I'm speaking to you all today and literally living the life that I couldn't even dream from. We'll talk about that in just a sec. What are the actual options upon leaving upon school? Do you guys even know what your options are? Because a lot of times we just limit ourselves. We got to do our own practice, et cetera, et cetera. Like, who can give me some idea? What are the options when you leave school here? Associate?
Open your own.
Open your own.
Franchise.
Franchise model. Yes.
Collaboration.
Collaboration. Biopractice. There's maybe one more that hasn't been talked about. Independent contractor. All right, and then there's some like very rare instances you can become a sports team chiropractor, which if you're young, you're signal, you like sports, it's not a bad option. Did anyone even know that those options existed? Yes? Most of them. I think one that's underrated, which we'll talk about in a second, is buying old practices. I got some good stats that are gonna inspire you, criticize the older generation, but also criticize your generation as well. I feel like I'm coming down on these students. But it's good to know what your options are. When you know what your options are, you can make the proper choices, right? So these are the main 4 options. I'll talk about another one in just a second. But I started out as an associate. In fact, some of the greats in chiropractic were associates. Unfortunately, our profession, we have this reputation of it being dog eat dog. Horrible exiting of that experience. Dog eat dog, it's my way or the highway, or it's eat your young, survival of the fittest.
Okay, got it.
Right? Yeah. I don't care if you're not successful or not. I'm going to make sure that I am. Right? And that's not just in chiropractic. That's can be in dentistry too. I hear the same things. You got independent contractor. We were independent contractors for that time. I personally didn't enjoy that experience, but if you get set up with the right person, it can be very lucrative, and there's way less risk on that. You can start from scratch, which I'm sure a lot of us came into Sherman wanting to do. You're your own boss. You're your own entrepreneur. I get 100% of the pie. Higher risk with that. And then there's the buying non-traditional. Right? I think this is one that is never talked about. I didn't even know that this was an option, Jack, when I was going through as a student. I think that's one thing Sherman could do a better job of, getting it off the classifieds. But here's an interesting stat. Over 80% of chiropractic offices don't last after 1 generation. That's scary. That's sad. And if we were to fall out today, we wouldn't have anyone to replace either. So I'm not coming from a pedestal saying, I've done that and I've figured it out. I'm just saying, I've had mentors help me see the bad guys. I'm trying to help you guys see the bad guys too. And we wonder why we as a profession never get above this 10% seeing the masses, because I want to do it myself. I think the office could look more aesthetically pleasing. I've got this technique and that technique, and we just keep starting over, and it's getting harder and harder, because I promise you, students, it is way more expensive now than it's ever been to open a practice. People say it's never been a greater time to be a chiropractor. I do believe that for sure. But it's never been more expensive than it is right now. And I know this talking to mentors. When I talk to them, hey, what should I look for when it came to commercial space? They said, $18 a square foot. The cheapest I saw was $33 a square foot. Am I doing something wrong? Like you start to question things. No, that's how much more expensive it is. So if you want numbers for context, we write the check every month. $6,300 a month is our rent. Those are real facts and figures. What does that mean for you? It means it's expensive. How can you fix that? I love this saying from Cody Sanchez. She's a business influencer. You should look her up. She said it's much easier to buy profits than it is to make them. It's much easier to buy profits than it is to make them. Associate with a doc, or find a doc that wants to practice and retire, buy into their clinic, and start with something that immediately has a patient base and immediately has patients giving you money. It's a very good option for a lot of people. In fact, I would choose that over starting from scratch right now if I could. Who cares about your personality? Drop your ego. Serve the people that are currently there. Do you have a question? Yes, sir.
How would you start buy non-traditional?
So there's this thing you can do, seller financing. So you could say, hey, again, this whole negotiation thing, skills outside of this presentation here, but you could say, hey, I'm going to pay for this practice hinged upon the money that I'm going to make in the future that I'm going to pour back into you. So say, hey, I'm a 2-year contract, I'm going to work for you. The money that I'm making is going towards purchasing this practice. This way, no money comes out of your own personal pocket. It's all about the reward you're getting from that practice. If it doesn't work out, you can cut ties. But there's ways you don't have to use your own capital to do that. Does that make sense? Yeah, because it's going to be hard to get a loan coming out of school. In fact, I was in practice 2.5 years, had great amount of savings, all my numbers, no bank ever gave us a loan. All right, we went through 16 different banks, they all said no. So we had to get creative. I'm trying to help you guys think creatively, but there's this other option. Go ahead, yes.
How would you go about buying a practice when, let's say, their technique or way they go about chiropractic would be completely different? Let's say it's a full spine clinic, so their patients are all used to full spine and you're only upper cervical. Is that something you can do, and how would you go about transitioning there?
One thing that I would say as an upper cervical doctor myself, you immediately push away an initial 95% of other people that could buy your practice or can become associates. So what does that mean? I would say keep your full spine skills, and then ideally, if you want to get to the place where it's only upper cervical, transition them into that. It's much easier and more leverage to transition patients from full spine into upper cervical than to starting from scratch only from upper cervical. Keep your hands fresh. If I could do it all over again, I would follow the route that my sister, Emily and Ale did. And that's why they've scaled way past us, faster. In business is the game of speed. How did they do that? They found the right person, key note there, who paid for their entire practice with their capital. So they did all the startup costs. They did the groundwork, making the relationships, setting the office right, but the capital is already taken care of. What's in it for the person that established that? They basically take 30% of those profits moving forward. That's 30% forever? Well, I love Mark Cuban's quote. He says, I'd rather have 30% of a watermelon than 100% of a grape. This is why we stay small, because all of us want to have 100% of something super small. We should partner, do things together. Even all these different franchises, there's different partners that have put aside their egos and help grow these practices together. So now not only do they have their own practice, they have 3 practices in their 3 years in practice because they had capital, right? Capital is necessary. There's obviously advantage and disadvantage to this. Some of you guys don't have these big goals and aspirations, but that's okay, but it's still a valuable option, right? I'm much more open-minded to these franchisees. They're not good enough, they don't practice the way I want to. Keep your mind open and find a person who you can hook yourself up to that you trust and whose life that you want to mimic. It comes down to finding your fit though. Match your path with your personality. Are you the risk taker? Do you want to bet on yourself? To some extent you are because you're here at Sherman, right? Your parents are like, what the heck are you doing here spending all this money? To some point you have that. Know what your non-negotiables are, right? What are you willing to sacrifice and not sacrifice? For me, it's my faith and my family and my fitness. I can't sacrifice those things. As I've alluded to Jack several times, like really the quality of your life can come down to the quality of your mentorship. So seek quality people in your life. Don't feel like you have to do it all on your own. Create the life that you want, not just the size of the practice. Let's get a little personal. These are my things I gotta share. First off, my anchor is my faith. And my faith drives, I literally have yearly goals set for my family. One of those things, a great book recommendation, is called Board Meetings. It's about a 100-page book, and it talks about every quarter you set a board meeting with each child that you have and or spouse to spend allocated, uninterrupted time, 4 hours, no phones, no screens, etc. I will not let practice inhibit that. And I love my family, and I know my family loves me. Kids will change your life. I'm gonna talk about it in a way that you can't even fathom. Both exciting and super stressful. But nothing can mimic the excitement, I would say even in practice, of the greatest testimonial, greatest financial week, than your daughter running to you and saying, Daddy, Daddy, Daddy. Like, I pray that everybody, mom and dad, get to experience that at some point in your life. I love dunking. I got my first dunk at 30, and I've been working at things ever since. I can do a windmill, two-hand, like all that stuff. In fact, spoke to a buddy prior to coming here. He said, you got to share this with a group. He told me, you got to get stronger, right? You got to get leaner and stronger. So I hit a strength goal, my lifetime bench press goal, I hit this morning.
Wow.
Yeah, you know, you don't have to clap for it. You don't have to clap for it. It doesn't matter. It's just, I hit 315 on bench, right? Which is like the 3 plates. Like that was a goal I had as a kid, and now I'm finally in my 34 hitting that. So don't quit on your goals, right? Investing, I think investing is fun. It's the game. If you like the cash flow game or Monopoly, it's cool. So we own properties. I invest probably a little too much in crypto, but my favorite investment is mentoring students, right? I have 2 students that we've been able to mentor, intern, that will come to Sherman College. One of those, be on the lookout for him, he's gonna be a stud, Trexler Ivy, coming in the fall of this year. That's the greatest thing that I get to do because of the practice that we built. But I love that because I know how much this place changed my life. This place changed every essence, gave me purpose, gave me fulfillment. When my daughter was born, I guess basically we found out we were pregnant, I went into like hyper scarcity, hyper performance mode. And I was like, I gotta work harder. I gotta see more new patients. We gotta collect more money, right? It's like, if I can just earn enough money, then we'll be taken care of, right? And it really put some tension on my wife because she didn't care about me working longer. She cared about me being there for her during her pregnancy. We're men, we're stupid, right? We gotta learn those things. So there was some tension and twirl in our marriage, but I knew nothing is more important than being with my wife. The practice fails, so be it, but my wife's more important. So there was tension there, but that came through trial and error. I'm just trying to expose you guys to real things that will come up. And essentially, when our daughter was born, the agreement was she's gonna take 6 weeks off, because my wife was seeing her people, mainly pediatrics, etc. She's gonna take 6 weeks off, and then she'll come back in. That was our original agreement. Maybe it was pregnancy brain, maybe it was just my ambition. That's not how it went down. How long do you think it was before she came back? Oh wait, 2 years? Wow, that's a long time. 9 months. So 6 weeks became 9 months. And that's really what brought us through this place where I felt burnt out. We tried to get too fast, hire an associate. That's where we looked at even things of something practice, because I hadn't set up the things in place properly. I made it all dependent upon me. And that's not a great place to be in when it comes to a level of service. So we had to change a few things. I would say if you want to serve without burnout, and a good mentor of mine says, if you don't chill out, i.e. vacation, you burn out. You can probably grind 80 hours, chiropractic philosophy, studying, you're partying, you're doing all these things, but I'm telling you, that energy is not there. So set the clear boundaries early. What are your boundaries? For mine, if I see things affecting my fitness in a standpoint, I will scale back. It's not an act of selfish, it's just know that's how I can fully come and show up for my people. Build systems not dependent on you. I think we struggle immensely with this in chiropractic, even myself, right? How do we create the system that's dependent on others and your team rather than just you? Can you take vacation? Hire and train members early, and then this is a big one. So I'm giving you guys like the deep insights I guarantee you no one is talking about. What do people look like, or what is a healthy practice for it to go on sale? Like, how do you have a healthy practice for sale? Question, do you think if you have all these prepaid services in your clinic, is that healthy for the next buyer coming in? So let's say, I know you guys aren't exposed to too much care plans as a student here, but in our office here, people are like, hey, you pay in full, you get a discount. That's how the majority of our practices have been set up. So if you have all these prepaid services, is that healthy for the next buyer coming in? It's not healthy. Any business, chiropractic or not, why would you want to go to a business where you're not immediately getting that cash flow, those profits? You're basically just fulfilling the service. Having some sort of recurring revenue in your practice, something we've changed, having some sort of membership, not a membership practice, but some level of membership tier that you can include is healthy when it comes to recurring revenue. So I would look at that immediately when you start, have some sort of recurring revenue that comes in. For us, it's a hybrid. Patients start on a normal care plan where they pay in front or pay monthly, and then we just flex them to wellness on a membership program. We've recently launched that. We've had like 20 families come back in and take advantage of that, right? So patients love it, and a lot of business coming in love it. So just an important thing, create predictable revenue. A sustainable practice serves more patients in the long run. I know repetition drives memory. You guys know that's studying. So make sure you network, clarify. Clarity is your greatest accelerator, right? Clarity is your greatest accelerator. Get clear on what you want. Build the skills, design your life, and then I think my last two slides here, your calling, your chiropractic career deserves better than being burnt out. It's not why you invested time, money, energy, studying, resources. I can talk about that offhand with what that event was, but that's the community, like a community event that we did, right? It's so fun to have a great impact in the community because they need you. They need your healing gifts. Without you losing yourself, right? Without losing your health, without losing your family. That's the unfortunate truth of this profession. You can lose your health and your family and still have a successful practice. That's unfortunate. So we want you guys to be sustainable, and I share what my favorite part about life is, my family. That's my beautiful wife, it's my incredible daughter, sister, awesome testimonial with G. Long story short, through chiropractic, she couldn't even speak, and chiropractic allowed her to speak again. Right, so chiropractic has been a common thread to my life. Her mom, her dad, obviously this guy here. Thank you guys so much for your participation and engagement. God bless you. I'll be around for some minutes. Thank you so much.